Hey everyone, welcome back to Lost My Thread. I'm Teresa. Today I'm going to be talking to you about everything I sewed in the month of June. It's been a couple of months since I've done a monthly makes video, and that's just because in May I got really wrapped up in my Me Made May pledge and I was giving weekly updates, so a full video of everything I made in May felt a little bit like overkill. But I am going to share with you today everything I made in June, but you get one bonus extra make from April that I wasn't able to share with you at the time because it was a pattern test that's now been released. I'm going to start with what I'm wearing right now. So this is the Norma Blouse by Fibre Mood. I've made a dress version of this and I've made a short sleeve hacked version of this. This is my first proper Norma blouse as it was designed. The Norma blouse has this lovely V-neck detail and button down front. It has these wonderful voluminous sleeves. This is a cotton double gauze fabric that I got from the Fabric Godmother, and I feel like cotton double gauze works so well with anything where you want just a bit of volume but still to keep that lightness. I feel like there's just a perfect kind of poof in this, and cotton double gauze is just so breathable when you're hot, but you're not cold in it if it's a little bit chilly. It's just kind of a great all-rounder. So I really do love how this one turned out. I'll show you the fabric up close so that you can get an idea. The double gauze has this crinkly look to it, and it's like a kind of off-white. It's not proper white, but it's quite white, with these lovely subtle colors on top of it. I love the soft colors feel summery without being like a pastel. I feel like these are much more my kinds of shades. But I love this blouse. I really love the shape and the fit that I've got with it. I have lengthened this one quite a bit, so I know that I lengthened this one 1.5 inches more than I did when I did my dress hack. But my dress hack, it was lengthened because I wanted it to be a little bit of a lower waist than where it was intended even then. So I have a feeling I ended up making this probably a good few inches longer than it's meant to be. So just check the length because the Norma blouse does come up quite short. I didn't make any adjustments to the bust. There's no bust darts in this one because it is a bit oversized. I just went with the straight size for my measurements, and I am really happy with the shape that it gives me. I will say it's slightly shorter in the front because I didn't do any adjustments. So I think I will just lengthen the front bodice by maybe about 1 inch next time. It's not major, but it's just a little bit. You can see it's just a little bit higher, just of how it's because of how it's fitting over the bust, but it's certainly not going to put me off. The other things that I did just to change it slightly, I did add interfacing on the button placket and on this cuff here. It doesn't ask you to do that, but I just felt like, especially with this fabric that has a very loose weave, it's quite flimsy. I just wanted to make sure that it had the structure in the body to make sure these buttonholes weren't going to wear out over time, and just to make sure that this cuff was going to keep its shape. I think the cuff, maybe it wouldn't have made a difference, but it probably would have been a little bit trickier to just fold over. In general, I do love the Norma blouse. I will say, as far as the cuff, I feel like my arms, they're quite a lot smaller at the wrist and bigger in this area. They're kind of quite a bit of shape to my lower arms, and as a result, I feel like this cuff, it's not like there isn't room where it wants to sit, and I can get a good couple of fingers in there quite easily. But I do feel like when I move my arm around and, move my arm muscles, it feels a little bit tight at points. So I probably would loosen this in the future and possibly even go for an elastic, make this even a bigger cuff with elastic, kind of like the Adrian blouse by Friday Pattern Company. I feel like that was just a little bit more comfortable. Also, if I wanted to put this one up over my elbows, I can, but it really doesn't go beyond that point, and even then it feels quite awkward to kind of shuffle up and down. It's definitely not anything that makes it unwearable. All these things are just details, but I mention them in case you're making them. You might just want to just bear these things in mind because you might want to make those adjustments before you make it. I wanted to make some things to pair with this top, so I'm going to show you some shorts that I've got, but I'm currently wearing them with my ginger jeans, which I feel like is a really good pairing for this top. I wanted high-waisted trousers to go with this because it is that little bit more cropped, and I feel like it works perfectly. My image of having like a little mini capsule that I can mix and match elements from my spring wardrobe has worked really well with both this blouse and another one I'll show you in a second. But yeah, Norma Blouse by Fibre Mood, definitely a hit with me. I have made now 3 versions. I'm going to be making more. I'm not finished with this blouse, but I'll give it a little break for now. The next one I will show you is the Sade Blouse. So this one, it's not going to come across super well here, but I just want to show you. This is the Nani Iro cotton sateen fabric that I got for my birthday last year, I believe it was. Might have even been Christmas the year, like not just Christmas gone, but the one before. Whenever I got it, I knew what I wanted to do with it, and I've been kind of just waiting to get this made up. It's such beautiful fabric. The colors are absolutely incredible. Just the fabric and the print on this is just stunning. I love just every direction. It looks beautiful and it looks unique. I love this fabric. I got it from Guthrie and Ghani, and the blouse, I will say it is an unusual one. I'm gonna love wearing it, but I probably wouldn't make loads of versions. So the key features, this is the Sade Blouse. It's from the Breaking the Pattern book by Named Clothing. This has this slash sleeve, so it's a completely slashed open sleeve detail. In the hem of it, or on the sort of the cuff of it, sorry, you can add, usually they say fabric ties are you're supposed to put on there, but I've seen a lot of people do elastic cuffs, so that's what I went for, which I really love. Like I was saying with this blouse, it's nice to just have the ability to push these things up really easily. I mean, it is quite a big sleeve with the big slit, so pushing it up, it's probably not like I would want to wear it pushed up, but just to be able to wash my hands or do the dishes, you know, that kind of a thing. It's nice to have the option of pushing it up. That sleeve opening is definitely a big open vent, basically. So it's essentially like wearing sleeveless, but you just have that extra pretty fabric round and about your arm, which I think is a really nice detail. It's a nice feminine, floaty feeling. It does feel super breezy, really comfortable to wear. There's a crossover section on the back that doesn't fully cross over at the bottom, and so at the bottom of the hem, again, you're supposed to either put a fabric tie. I have seen people put elastic, but I feel like you'd have to make that quite a bit bigger than it is currently to be able to still get it on and off easily. Some people have just left the back open, so I considered just leaving the back open so that way I can just have that total easy breezy kind of a feel. But I did worry if I was going to feel like it was too open, particularly if I was leaning forward, bending over, that kind of thing, if I would feel like it might just expose a little bit too much. I don't think it actually was too opening. It doesn't open up completely because you do have this crossover section at the top. This is one shoulder, that's the other. There's quite a bit that overlaps, and it's, I would say, reasonably high that it overlaps from about the waist thereabouts. So it's not really going to open up completely. But I did ask my husband, what do you think about just leaving it open? Because there is this bit of a slight vulnerable feeling, I suppose, to having it that open. And I also did want to think about whether I might be able to wear this for work. As the sleeves are the way they are, I don't know how practical that'll be because I have to be bare below the elbows, and even if I could pull those sleeves up, they kind of flap every which way. So not worried if I can't wear it for work. It was just to think about the option. But as far as leaving it open at the back, I love my husband, and I go to him because I love his honesty. I know some people go to their partners, their friends, because they just want to hear, yeah, you look amazing, everything's great. No, I want him to tell me the truth because he understands, as a creative person himself, sometimes you need someone to just tell you genuinely what they think is going on. So I said to him, what do you think if I just leave this open at the back? And he said to me, it kind of, with the sleeve the way that it is, it just kind of looks like you've been like slashed at by a cat or something, like you've been mauled by a cat. Which, to be fair, he had a point. I think there was maybe just a little bit too much slashing opening situation going on, and I did add the little tie at the bottom, and I think the tie's pretty. I decided to go with the fabric tie rather than elastic. I think I mentioned if I was going to have an elastic at the bottom of that, for one, it might feel a little bit restrictive in how tight it's going to be, and I like the option of potentially tying it up a little bit higher, but also I'd have to have that bottom hem a lot wider for me to be able to get it on and off without a problem. So as it was, it had to be how it was. As far as the sizing, I went for a size 3, but I did a 3-inch full bust adjustment, and then I also did a sort of widening out, so grading out to a size 5 at the hips. The fit I'm really happy with. I feel like it works really well. I did lower the front neckline as well. I don't think it's very low, but when I made a muslin, it was very uncomfortably high. I think probably because I was going with a measurement that fits my high bust here. In general, I think I am relatively small around this circumference compared to just my overall proportions. And so quite often if I go with something that fits my proportions here, everything else is just kind of in more than I would want it to be. So I lowered the neckline by 1.5 inches. It doesn't look low by any means, but I'm much happier with where that sits. And I feel like it's just an absolutely beautiful blouse. I am very much looking forward to wearing it in the summer weather when it's really nice and warm. The fabric I feel like is just so beautiful. I feel so beautiful in it. I really do love the way this turned out, and I'm so happy that I went with the Sade blouse for this fabric. And that blouse, in addition to the one that I'm wearing, I really wanted to pair together with my black ginger jeans, which they go well with, but also with some shorts. So I made myself a pair of shorts. These are the Jenny shorts by Closet Core Patterns. What I like about this pattern and why I wanted to make it is they're a very high-waisted short. They're flat in the front. I really like, there's not a fly in the front, it's just flat, but there is it's like a fly, zipper fly on the side. Let me take it off the hanger because it's probably gonna be a little bit easier to show you guys. But yeah, so on the side, zip it up. So on the side seam, you've got like a normal, like a zipper that also has ginormous pocket. So it's hidden behind the pocket there with a button closure. And you can make that on both sides, which I had intended to do. I didn't, and I'll get into that. But it's got these lovely slash pockets on both sides. It's got these really cute pockets on the back. I do like the length of these. They are not the shortest of shorts. So I feel like that for me is a good length of shorts, and they're comfortable to wear. They're relatively loose at the bottom of the shorts as well. So I feel like the combination of them being a little bit looser, of them being a little bit longer, and having a bit of a stiffer fabric means they don't ride up in the thighs, which is always delightful. So I'm really glad that it worked out. This fabric is a Robert Kaufman Ventana twill. It's a 7.9 ounce that I got from Sister Mintaka. The color is called Smoke Blue. I think it is a bit lighter than how it's looking on the camera, so I'll put a picture up so you can see what the shade is like. It is blue. It isn't really like a gray, but it is just not as dark. It's not like a navy. It's definitely like a shade or two lighter than a navy blue. And I love that because I feel like it will go with so much for that reason. These I feel like turned out kind of like a smarter shorts, which is what I was hoping, because I was hoping I might be able to wear these at work. And I feel like I could definitely wear these for work. I might even be able to wear them with tights under them when it's getting to like the cooler, like autumnal times. We'll see how that goes, but that's my hope. And these shorts, because they're higher waisted, I feel like they suit the style of a lot more of the things that I've been leaning towards now. And I've made a lot of tops that are just a little bit cropped that don't really go with a lot of the trousers and shorts that I had before. But these are gonna slot in, I think, really, really well. They do go well with the blouse that I'm wearing, as well as the Fibre, this is the Fibre Mood, the Sade blouse that I showed you as well. I feel like they go well together, which is exactly what I wanted. I always enjoy putting together Closet Core patterns. I feel like their instructions, their construction, it's always really satisfying. Everything always comes together just really well, and I feel like it's very methodical. It just makes sense to me. Like, we all kind of gel with different kinds of patterns, but I do really enjoy making their patterns. So this is the shorts version. I'd already made the Jenny overalls, and I knew that I really liked them and I liked the fit on me. I made the straight size 14 for these. I think when I made the overalls, I did grade to a 12 at the waist, but I also had raised the waist a little bit, and this one I didn't want to have it quite so high. And where this was going to hit me on, it is on my, like, above my belly button, so it's definitely a higher waisted pair of shorts, but it's just a little bit above my belly button. And for me, that's actually fits in with the size 14 measurements, and that worked really well. There are some back darts, which I always am going to enjoy. I think that's really great shaping for me, and I did actually do a little, what do you call it? A sway back adjustment. I just shortened this area just below the waistband by about 1 inch, just because on my Jenny overalls it was a little bit baggy in that area, and that worked really, really well. I did curve the waistband a little bit, but I probably could have done with curving it a little bit more, just because it does sit a little bit out just above where the waistband, well, the top of the waistband it's a minimal thing. And if I'm tucking anything in, you would never notice anyway. It's not like it's a huge gape up there, and it fits really well at the bottom of the waistband. It's really comfortable. I will say these are really comfortable moving around, crouching, sitting, you know, any position. I feel like this worked out to be a good pair of, I would call like rigid shorts. I've been going a lot more towards stretch just because I feel like I want things to be comfortable, but these honestly are just super comfortable as they are. The back pockets, I did find on my Jenny overalls, the back pockets just seemed a little bit big in proportion to my bum. So this time I actually sized down the pockets. They have different pocket sizes depending on the size of the shorts. And I made the size 0 pockets for my size 14 otherwise shorts. And I feel like it's perfect. They look like a really good size, a really good shape. I think they're really flattering, and they're big pockets. So there's, you know, plenty of space in there. It's not like I've sized down to the point where they're not usable. So those worked out really well. There are so many nice finishing details on these shorts. So let me just tell you what happened with the side zip. So you have the option of putting one side zip in or one on each side. My plan was to put one on each side just because I am quite a bit wider at my hips than I am in my waist, and I was worried it's going to be a little bit tricky to get them on. I put 2 on my Jenny overalls, and I kind of like the symmetry there as well. But when I was working on the right side zip, something went just wonky. You know, sometimes the sewing machine is just not playing with you, and this fabric, because it's quite thick, there's a lot of sections that are folded over that you're trying to stitch through, and it was just looking really janky, not good at all. And I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to touch it because it technically is a functional zip. Let me go ahead and make the one on the left side, and it came out so much better. I think just having just done it, you know, my brain knew what to do. I was a little bit more patient maybe with finagling with the sewing machine. And this one I think looks great. It sits really flat. It worked out beautifully. And I thought, well, let's just put a little base to fit in, stitch it together, see how this works, see if I can actually pull these up without putting the side zip in the right. And I could. And so the right one, just zipper came out, stitched that right up, and you would never know. It's our little secret. The finishing details are just so nice on this one though. So you have this lap section over for the button. I do love the button that I've got. So this is one of my ones that I got from Vogue. If anyone remembers, I got a ton of buttons for very cheap from Vogue Fabrics before they were moving in Evanston, Illinois when I went back home to visit. But yeah, the button I think works really well, but I did decide this overlaps quite a bit, and I decided I wanted to have a button on the inside here as well, just because I didn't want to have anything potentially like pulling up and showing the inside of that side there. So the inside, let me just turn these inside out. The pockets are French seamed, which is beautiful on the inside and out, and always lovely when I put my hands in the pockets. For the pocket bags, I used, this was actually a dress that I completely forgot that I had cut up. I was making a dress out of this and it just really wasn't working. It was just too much. This color and this print just as one full dress, it really wasn't working. It's a quilting cotton, it was a bit stiff. I just knew that it wasn't going to work out. So I cut that dress up probably about 2 years ago, completely forgot about it, found it in all of my scrap fabrics and thought, that would be perfect for my pocket bags. And not only did I have enough for the pocket bags, but I had enough that I could do some additional finishing details, which I think was really nice. So it's a really pretty fabric. It's got these lovely little birds on it, and I feel like it goes really well with the other fabric, the main fabric. But then I also decided to use it for the inside of the waistband. So you are supposed to just use the same fabric as the outside, but you don't see it, and I think that's just a nice detail that ties it together. I also used it for the fly shield, so the inside of the zipper. So that's what stops the zipper from going onto your skin when you're zipping it up and down. I will say I did hand stitch the bottom of this down. In theory, you're supposed to just leave it flapping around, which to me is not very nice. It's not a nice finish, and it's going to make it awkward when you're zipping it up. I noticed that with the Jenny overalls too, and I think I did a little bar tack at the bottom of it there. It didn't tell you to do it, though it does on their other patterns, so that was the only issue I think I didn't like about this fabric, or about this pattern rather. But the button that I used on the inside I think is a really nice match as well. I just feel like overall it was one of these, just it all came together really nicely. So I do think these ones are going to be a great go-to to wear all the time in the summer for sure, maybe in the slightly cooler months if I can get away with it. but I'm so glad now that I've got a few things that I can mix and match in addition to just wearing these with so much else that I've already got in my wardrobe. And the last one I'm going to tell you about is actually the first thing that I made in June, which is this jumpsuit. So this is a jumpsuit that I made from the Great British Sewing Bee Sustainable Style book. It was written by the ladies behind Selkie Patterns, that book. And it's got very much like a boiler suit vibe. This fabric I love so much. This is called Sherbet and it is from Merchant & Mills. It's 100% linen. They have their linens made up. The colors are just the best. I love the colors of it. It's a really lovely quality linen as well. And of course it's super breathable. It does have that crinkled, wrinkled look to it, which I like. That's what I like about linen. There are so many details that I want to tell you about with this jumpsuit. So I made this jumpsuit in a size 14, straight 14. I think, look like I should have maybe potentially sized up in the hip, but I felt like I looked at the amount of ease and I thought it would be comfortable. It's perfect. I didn't make any adjustments on it. It just fit as is. I think I did lengthen the legs a little bit because it was supposed to be a little bit more cropped. But apart from that, it pretty much just made it as instructed. Because I had the striped fabric, I was able to play around a lot with the direction of stripes, which is always going to be good fun. And I do feel happy with all the choices that I have made. So on the breast pockets, I've changed direction and I made the diagonal on the little flap of the pocket. Now I'm not sure if there was a pocket flap on there or if I drafted it. No, there was a piece. I didn't draft that. Sorry, I've done that on other shirts before. There's a nice cuff on the sleeve here with this little sleeve tab. Always love a good sleeve tab. Really comfortable, looks really cool. On the back yoke, I've done the diagonal just because I felt like that was going to be a nice detail and I think it is really pretty. Same on the inside. I've got the diagonal on the back yoke. I had to add a label. I feel like this label was just the vibe that I needed at the time. You know, we go through phases where we need these reminders. I needed that reminder. It's got belt loops because it does tie in at the waist. There are no pockets, proper pockets. So there's pockets on the chest, which you're not going to use because they're too small for anything. I didn't realize, I just didn't even think about it until I'd already made most of this jumpsuit, that there are no side seam pockets. Like, why would you not have side seam pockets on a jumpsuit, people? But it was too late to add them because I didn't even think of it. But I did go ahead and draft my own patch pockets for the bum because I'm not going to have a jumpsuit without pockets. So that was another one that I just went in the opposite direction for the pockets on the bum. They're a good size. They work really well. I also wanted to have a cuff. This is my hem. I wanted to have a permanent cuff on the hem just because I feel like that would tie in with the look and with the rolled sleeves as well. And I used a tutorial by Amy Nicole Studio. She's got like a permanent rolled cuff tutorial that I absolutely love. And I have used that before and that is my go-to method for making a permanent rolled cuff. Yeah, I'll pop it in the description box down below if you want to check it out as well. I like that there is some nice gathering detail here on the back, under the back yoke. There's some nice gathering on the shoulders as well. It is quite a fitted jumpsuit. It's not super fitted, but it's shaped, I guess I would say. There are pleats at the back, which I appreciate. So getting that little bit of shaping in at the waist. Now you were supposed to have, I think it was supposed to be an inverted box pleat at the top and a box pleat at the bottom, but I went a little bit off script and basically realized after it was too late that I think actually what it is this fabric looks the same on the front and the back, and I'm pretty sure that I stitched this in the wrong way around. I mean, you literally would never know because it just looks the same, but in the end I ended up with my pleats the wrong way around on the bodice. My waist tie covers it up. It really doesn't make a difference, but just between you and me, we all make these mistakes and you can just embrace it. I'm happy to just live with it as it is and not be too worried about it. The other major flaw with the instructions is what is supposed to happen at the bottom of this button placket. So this left or the right side flaps over the left like a normal button placket. At some point on the bottom that needs to become a seam that's going to go into the crotch. And the way the instructions have you do it, it's almost like you can have, you know, I've got buttons here that you can just turn that into a seam. Like it will just somehow rotate and become a seam. that doesn't work, and that's gonna look like a mess. You need to have something at the bottom, kind of like a fly, you know, like a button fly, zipper fly, something. And so I just did it the way that it made sense to me, and I just kind of flapped over and made a little angle there, which is similar to the angle that you're going to make at the top of the button placket. I just did basically the same thing down at the bottom, and I think it looks fine. I mean, I don't know if that's how it was supposed to be. I will say that when you look at the illustration of the line drawings of this pattern and you look at the version they've made up, they have done something along these lines, but they never told you how to do that in the instructions. So that was a big flaw with the instructions. Apart from that, honestly, it was fine. It wasn't super detailed, but it was basically, I think, enough of what you need to know. If you have made similar garments, you're probably not going to have any issue, but you will need to figure out something. Like I said, I think just copy what you do on the top onto the bottom, and that to me, I think, is the best way to finish off that placket leading into the trouser. I also have these really wonderful buttons. I hope you'll be able to see them. So these are designed by Ethel and Joan, and I feel like the colors are just like exactly the same colors. It's got this lovely transparent thing. I think these are made from resin, and I love that each one is unique. I love that you get these specks of orange and pink. Like I said, exactly the same colors that I've got going on in this jumpsuit. I feel like they're just so perfect. They blend in really well, and they just look so pretty. I feel like this jumpsuit was everything that I was hoping for. What I really wanted, this fabric, it's just so lovely and so bright. I was very much hoping for some kind of cool, chilled, maybe like a summer vacation vibe. Maybe I'm strolling along a beach, going for a nice evening walk. And I just feel like I am encompassing all of that when I wear this jumpsuit. It feels really cool. It feels really comfortable. I feel like it just works really well with the stripes. It's very much what I wanted, and I'm so happy that I went ahead and made it. I am very much planning to wear this a lot, all times of year, but especially now that the summer weather is coming. The last thing I'm going to tell you about is a pattern that I tested that I couldn't show you when I made it. So this is a dress. It's the Isla Dress by Jennifer Lauren Handmade. I made it in this really dreamy, wonderful See You at 6 cotton double gauze fabric. Clearly been on a bit of a cotton double gauze kick. It has the most glorious flowers. They're hydrangeas. The colors are beautiful. I love that you've got these different shades of green in the leaves as well. I really, really love it. It is so soft and so drapey. This fabric has the most incredible movement. This is, again, because it's cotton double gauze, it's not too cold, but it's so good when you're hot as well. Like, it just hits every little thing that you need it to. Now, this dress is quite an unusual design. It is a wrap in the back. So it is just straight front. It would look like it has some kind of zipper most likely in the back because it's quite fitted, but the back actually crosses over like a wrap would do, and there is a little section where your tie is going to go through, and then it ties around at the front, and that's how you get the shaping there. So Jennifer Lauren Handmade, her patterns are made with different bust cup sizes, so I was able to get the fit really good for me. There are some darts in the back for extra shaping in the back as well. There are massive, wonderful pockets on this, which is always going to be a big plus. It's just a grown-on sleeve, so that's not any extra piece, so it's going to be, generally, I would say it's quite easy to make. There's a dart? Yeah, there's a dart that goes down from the bust down to the waist seam at the front. I really do love the shape of this one. It's a gathered skirt, so there's a lot of fullness. It's really comfortable. I was a little bit unsure about how the wrap in the back would work because I did feel like, I know that wrap dresses and things, especially with lighter weight fabrics, can really kind of float up and drift open. But what I realized is part of what's happening there is when you're walking, your legs are starting to open up the fabric, but because the wrap's in the back and you're walking forward, it never opens up. It never floats open, which is just amazing. It's such a clever design. There is a button detail at the back of the neckline, and you can choose to just make that a permanent buttonhole and just pull it over your head, but I just prefer to have it being able to open. I did put a little fabric label in this, or clothing label in this one as well. I felt like, because cotton double gauze, you can't really press it because it loses the crinkles. So I felt like this was a good option to go for. Ironing is overrated. I mean, I feel like that anyway, but you know, that's a whole nother thing. But this one does need ironing, so it's delightful. There's a facing, if you haven't worked out, there's a facing in there. It's not lined. But this has just been such a comfortable, wonderful dress to wear. And it feels so floaty and beautiful and feminine. And I feel like it is just such the perfect fabric for it. It makes me so happy to wear. I've been wearing it a ton since I made it. So I pattern tested it back in April. It was released in May. But since I've been making it, I've been wearing it. And it is one of those, like, once it's out of the wash, I want to throw it on because it's so soft. It feels like you're wearing pajamas, you know, really soft, worn in, really cozy cotton pajamas. But it's not pajamas. It looks fabulous and it feels amazing as well. So it's definitely been a good win for me. And I do want to give a quick knitting update as well for anyone who knows that I've been working on a cardigan. This is from the Christmas Advent yarns that I got, and I am very close to finishing. I finished the main body of the cardigan, so this is the back. It has this ginormous hem, which is, I found out it's in something called twisted rib, which I'd heard of but had never tried to knit in it before. And boy, that is complicated. Let me tell you, I definitely took forever on that hem, and I was making, you know, mistakes, having to go back again, worried that I was doing it wrong. And when I looked at the Ravelry pattern, I saw so many people saying that it took them more time to make the hem than it did the whole rest of the sweater. So I realized it wasn't just me anyway. The colors are wonderful. I really do love how all the stripes have worked out. I have finished one of the sleeves as well. I will say the cuff is a little bit baggy, and I'm really hoping, the sleeve in general is a bit loose. It's like a 3/4 length sleeve. I'm really hoping that when I wash it and block it, it's going to shrink up a bit, because I don't really want a baggy sleeve on a cardigan 3/4 length. Not really how it's meant to be. But the other sleeve, I'm most of the way. Am I most of the way? Yeah. So I've gotten to the yellow. Where are we? Got this lined up. I've gotten to the yellow. So I've just got another few colors before I get to the cuff on there. And then there's a binding that needs to go around the neckline, and there'll be buttons as well. So I like a button placket binding situation, but it's coming together. It is exactly like the colors, the look of it, what I was hoping to do with my Advent yarns. I still have quite a bit left over, a lot of these colors as well, but yeah, it's so vibrant, it's so beautiful. I feel like it's going to go with so many different things because there's so many colors on it. It's been a good slow project, so anyone who knits has probably already been sort of seeing my progress, but just to give you an update, that's where I'm at. And I can't say where I'm going to be at the end of July, but I'm certainly going to be a lot closer if I haven't gotten to the end. I hope it's been fun to catch up with everything I've been doing in June. I will say I've been very lazy and very slow with uploading these things onto Instagram, so you might see these before they're even over on Instagram, but they'll be up there soon. You get it here first, guys. This is where you're gonna get probably the quickest scoop these days as far as my details of everything that I've been making. If you particularly liked any of those or any of the details on those, please do let me know in the comments down below. I will be back again next month with another roundup of everything that I've been making, but there'll be plenty more videos coming in the meantime. If you did want to see more of my videos, if you want to see future makes, future plans, all kinds of sewing videos, please do subscribe down below if you're not subscribed to my channel already. Give me a like if you enjoyed my video, which will help other people then to find it as well. And I'll see you all very soon. Bye!